It's usually a try. All right, so we'll give everybody a couple minutes to get logged on, and then we're going to cover what I think is probably. So I messaged Dana while we're waiting on people. I'll give you the background. I messaged Dana a few weeks back, and I said KW agents are completely sleeping on one of the best opportunities they have um, to dig into. Oh, there's Dana. Um, and so I've been working on this presentation. It came out of something I taught my group coaching program initially, but this one is specifically for KW agents because I think the KW agents have a huge opportunity that they're completely sleeping on, and I hate to see that in the competitive environment we're in today. No one can afford to sleep on things, especially when you have tools that you're already paying for. Um, so. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're good. We're recording. So I'm just gonna jump in. I know we're gonna have more people who are running late and joining. They'll catch up on the recording. But I want to take you all through this, and I appreciate you showing up on time. So, so this presentation we named this "Stop the Steal." I'm gonna screen share here. So we named this "Stop the Steal," and it stopped the steal of your leads because there is a war going on in our industry. Most people don't know it. Um, and I feel pretty compelled to try to get everybody updated on this because as an industry, uh, we've missed a key point. And KW has done a great job of putting their agents in position to win this battle. But most KW agents don't understand what the battle is, let alone what tools they have to win it. So my whole goal today is to reframe your thinking on where you should be focused and how to take advantage of your KW tools. And in order to start that, we have to talk about what's happening in our industry right now that is so challenging. And it's not what you think. Okay. So who are we fighting in this battle, right? It's not the other agents. They're in the same battle as you. And again, whether you know you're in battle or you don't, you're in it. It's happening, right? Whether you're aware of it or not. It's not the brokerages. Brokerages are your partners in this industry. And I will tell you that no one's harder hit in a tough market than the brokerages are. So we're not fighting against them, right? We're on the same team there. It's not the attorneys, right? They're doing their job. There's a lot of lawsuits being filed in our industry right now. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. We can't get angry at them for that. And it's obviously and most certainly not the consumers. They're why we exist in the first place. So if it's not the agents or the brokerages or the attorneys or the consumers, who are we fighting, right? The enemy is the online portals, right? Now that might seem obvious once I say it, but I'm going to try to pull you into an understanding that we as an industry have just missed the opportunity here. We've missed the plot line. And so online portals are Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Trulia, and many several hundred others that you have heard of and haven't heard of, right? Here's why they're our enemy, right? They're disruptors between us and our community, right? Their mission is to weaken the direct relationships you have, and we're going to come back to how important that is. They're also what I call brand usurpers, right? They've elevated their online portals to be the trusted source for consumers instead of us as local real estate agents, right? We're the experts. We're the people they have a real relationship with. We should be the brand they trust. However, these online portals have outspent us and outmaneuvered us and built consumer trust, and we've got to start attacking that. And then lastly, I just always want to make sure that every agent understands this. They are relationship hijackers. Their business model is to capture the contact information for your friends, family, past clients, and potential clients and sell it to your competition. Plain and simple. They make billions of dollars every year by getting in between your relationships and you and selling those relationships to people you're in competition with in your local market. You have to understand that. in order to be prepared to fight this fight. So once you understand that's who we're going after, I need you to understand the size of the market. This is going back to Q2 of 2024. We're waiting on the updated 2025 report from this. This is from a guy named Mike Del Pret. He studies the real estate industry. This is the average monthly unique users across the 5 biggest platforms. In total, it averages about 600 million users, which tells me 2 things. One, consumers are using multiple platforms. Zillow, as you can see here, far and away the #1 choice. But people are on multiple, and it's effectively 100% of US households, right? If you've got 600 million people, you got at least everyone who owns a house or would like to own one, at least on 2 of these platforms. So they have consumed the market for online attention. That is scary, should be, if you understand where this goes, and also a huge opportunity for us. So how did they become so successful? I think this was the realization I've had based on some news that's happening, and we're going to talk about that, that led me to understand where we as an industry have gone wrong, right? Because how they became successful is they were looking at something differently than we as real estate agents were, right? So agents were focused and have been focused always on the finish line. When someone's ready to buy a house, do they work with a real estate agent to get to the closing, right? From time to see a house until time to close on it. The answer is yes. 86%. This number comes from National Association of Realtors data. It's also featured in Keller Williams Family Reunion vision slides. So I'm going to show you one of those to back this up. But this data is good. 86% of buyers are still using agents. Far and away, the consumer prefers to work with real estate agents once it comes time to get to the finish line. That's the best news we have, right? But if that's true, why have these platforms become so successful, right? The reason is they focused on a different metric. They focused on the starting line, right? While agents want to work with a real estate agent at the end, portals targeted where did consumers begin their journey, right? 43% of buyers in that National Association of Realtors study said their first step in buying a home was searching online. That number is 2 times the number of people who contacted an agent as their first step, right? They simply looked at the consumer preference and said at the end they want to work with real estate agents, but at the beginning they just don't. They're not ready. They want to just search online. And so they built their business in that direction. It's why we got so disrupted by them. It's why they've gained such a foothold, because we didn't see it coming. We were looking at the end of the transaction and they were looking at the beginning, right? Now I want to back that up for you, right? Here's where I pulled that data from. This is the KW research slide from Family Reunion in just a couple months ago, February of this year, right? And you can see there it's been pretty consistent. You know, mid 40s percent of people, their first step is looking online, right? And pretty consistently, more than double the number of people who contacted a real estate agent as their first step. Now, the reason I wanted to include this full slide is this is about where you're going to focus your energy to build your buyer business. In the market we're in now, in most markets, building a solid buyer pipeline is really key to having a strong pipeline. Listings are always the core of a business, but they're less and less desirable as the market shifts right now. Getting a ready, active buyer is the best thing you can get. So as a real estate agent and as a business owner, you've got to decide where are you going to prioritize your attention to capture more buyers and build your pipeline there, right? And I wanted to include this full slide because I want you to think about what are the other things you do, right, that you're prioritizing instead of what we're going to talk about today, which is leveraging your KW app to capture consumers at the front end, right? Because what this says to me is consumers say last year, 43% said the first thing they wanted to do when buying a home was look online for properties, right? So we should be spending 40% of our energy in acquiring customers helping them search for properties on a platform that we own and control. Conversely, as you go down the list, I see a bunch of things that agents love to focus on, right? Only 3% of buyers visited an open house as their first step in the process. So if you do a lot of open houses, and I love open houses, and it can be a fantastic lead source, right? But if you're spending the majority of your time on open houses, right, and completely ignoring online search, right, your energy and effort isn't matching what the consumer's wanting, what they're telling us they want. So we got to line that up, right? Same thing if you look at newspapers, magazines, buyer's guides, right? 2% of the market drove by. So you talk about signs and marketing, things like that, 5%. We're talking low single digits. Far and away, the best use of your effort to build a buyer pipeline is to get in the online search game. And again, so once you understand that, again, I'm going to make the case in the next segment of this that you as KW agents are uniquely positioned to take advantage. Now, I want to catch you up on a little bit of the news and why this is really relevant right now. And Compass is not in Ohio at this point anyway, so you guys have a unique advantage, but I want you to see what's happening everywhere else. So I'm going to walk you through this. You may have heard this if you follow real estate industry news online or if you're on social media, right? But you need to understand what's happened here recently. So Compass has been slowly building what they call Compass Private Exclusives, which is a way that you can list your home with Compass, but not put it on the MLS. It's a genius marketing tool because their argument is that sellers are disadvantaged by days on market being reported and disadvantaged by price reductions being reported. And that if you do a private exclusive listing, they have no obligation to track that data or make it publicly available. And the only place you can see, but the real genius here, right, is that Compass, as one of the largest publicly traded real estate brokerages and companies, set their site on taking down Zillow. And this is how they do it and why I want you guys to buy into this. These are very, very smart, well-funded people. And they said, we've got to disrupt these online portals for our agents. And private exclusives is the way they did it. Essentially what they say is, if you don't have an access to a Compass agent's app or website, you're not seeing everything on the market. I'm going to show you what that looks like on the next slide, but I want you to understand that, right? So these are proprietary listings for Compass. Now, this was sort of a gray area for the National Association of Realtors. We have something called clear cooperation, right? This is probably, you're most familiar with the concept of clear cooperation in coming soon listings, which says we're going to all agree as an industry, we're going to put something in the MLS as soon as we get the listing agreement signed, but we're going to allow a period of time that as long as it's in the MLS, you can publicly market it on your own before it becomes active and everyone can start booking showings, right? Well, NAR just several weeks ago, really a few weeks ago, came out and said, we're going to modify that policy to better allow for what Compass is doing with private exclusives. So they said, now homes can be entered, as long as they're entered in the MLS, they don't have to be in coming soon status. They can be in a exclusive or off market status, and they're not going to get syndicated out to the online portals, which means there can be now under NAR guidelines, a house in the MLS, which is not on Zillow, right? Now, for you as agents, great opportunity. For Zillow, the 800-pound gorilla in our industry, a massive threat. Right? Their entire business plan is selling consumers that they are the best place to search for houses because all of the houses are there anywhere in the country, right? And so anything that is counter to that narrative is a real threat for them. And being the 800-pound gorilla that they are, they almost immediately came back and put their foot down like an angry little child and said, if we find out that a home is listed on a private portal, right? We're never going to show it on Zillow. Essentially putting agents like Compass agents in a position where you've been selling your client on the fact that a private exclusive is a huge opportunity, you now have to disclose to them that it's possible their home will never go on the #1 source for online home search, right? Which is just completely unbelievable. Shannon, I'm going to come to your question in 1 second, right? And they're duking it out. This is all happening in real time, and you can go online and check this. And since I started putting this together, EXP entered, and they took a position on one side of it, and other players are coming in and out, and everyone's got their own opinions, and it's going to be a little bit messy. But bullet point number 4 here is the one that's most important to me. Your business is caught in the crossfire because these people are fighting over your consumers, and you're completely on the sideline, right? And that's what in the next phase of this, I want to make sure we move past. I want to get you in the game of fighting for consumer search, right? Because now that you know what's going on, you will understand what's so important. Shannon, you had a question.
I want to make sure I understand, because I've been watching this, and so that's why I jumped on here.
Yeah.
So Compass is now going to have their own private app, basically, correct?
They already do today, yes.
Right. And so those houses will or will not be on our MLS.
Okay. So today,
Mm-hmm.
they are not.
They're not on our MLS. So Compass is marketing to Compass, and that's it. Because Zillow is not picking them up. Is that right?
Compass, yes, but Compass is marketing to consumers, saying if you're looking in, and it's you're in Charleston, Compass is in your market.
Mm-hmm.
We can look at that. For example, Compass is saying if you're looking on Zillow, right, or you're looking on the MLS, you're not seeing all the houses. We have houses that you can't see, that you can only see if you come talk to a Compass agent and get set up on Compass's website or get the Compass app, right? So the battle here, it seems for us as agents, it's easy to look, stay in the weeds and go, this is a fight over houses in the MLS and what's available and who can see them. The fight is for the consumer's attention, right? Compass is playing a different game. They don't care if the house is in the MLS, not in the MLS, if you use a Compass agent or don't use a Compass agent. What they care about is, can they get you on Compass's app and website? That makes sense?
It does.
Which Dan, can I just ask you something / say something?
Yep.
That's a bold move for them, considering they don't have #1 market share in the country.
Right.
And at the same time, like Shenandoah, I was just sitting here thinking last week, Dan, in Columbus, I shared with our agents that we're currently beta testing the KW market off-market exclusive platform and Private Collections, another third-party one that was owned by KW people, and then they recently sold a final offer. But so that our agents can have that too, because a lot of brokerages that are using Private Collection, or some of those who have #1 market share like we do, are seeing a lot of success from that.
Yes.
Which is, great for certain sellers. Not all sellers. Some sellers may want to go to market, but certain sellers may not want to be on the MLS, or they may want to try a higher price and not waste days on the market. So there are, in my opinion, but Dan, I'm super curious to hear yours too. Like, there are extreme advantages of that. If you don't have a ton of market share, then I think it's kind of risky also at the same time.
Well, what Zillow has done has made it very risky. And excuse me, and the dust hasn't settled yet on how that plays out. So, pardon me. So it will be interesting. It's going to be a fight. But the important thing is that I think that the benefits to the consumer, again, here are less important. The pros and the cons to the consumer are less important than it's a fight about search.
Yeah.
It's a fight about where do you have the eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
The fight is more akin to Instagram versus TikTok, right? Than it is about private exclusive or not private exclusive. The private exclusive is just a unique way to get people onto a platform.
Yes. Okay. That's true. But is what Ruth said just now, like, I have heard that too. Isn't it going to go to each MLS's decision, or no? That's the part I keep getting him a little confused on.
Yes. And that's why we don't have, and that's why this is happening in real time and a little bit murky on the specifics. So NAR voted on clear cooperation amendments, right? That has passed. that's happened. It now has to go to all the MLSs to implement it, right?
Mm,
In
okay.
in the same way when we first got clear cooperation and all the MLSs had to decide what is their coming soon policy, right? And in some markets it's longer and some it's shorter and they have different rules. So that hasn't happened at all yet. And probably will move slowly because Zillow now has created this whole new dynamic where they, now the MLSs have some ability to push back, right? Zillow is dependent on syndication from the MLS. So it is a disadvantage to agents who are the members of the MLS for the ability for your listing ever to be syndicated to be at risk. It's almost an untenable risk. So it's possible that Zillow's overplayed their hand here. We just don't know yet, right? All right, I want to show you guys what this looks like since you're in a market that doesn't have Compass so that you understand from a consumer mindset how attractive this is, right? So I went to, because they're not in Ohio, I went just right over the border to Pittsburgh. This is a screenshot I took today from Compass's website. Now I want you to put your consumer hat on, okay? You're a consumer. You happen to go to Compass's website or somebody sends you to Compass's website. You're going to search for a house in Pittsburgh. So I just drew a little circle around it there, right? You will immediately, this happens in any market, Shenandoah, you can go on, Compass's website and search for Charleston. But you see here this black box, Compass private exclusive, 37 more listings in that circle that I drew that are there that you can only see on Compass. They're not on the MLS. They're not on Zillow, right? You can't even see them on Compass's website unless you click that Learn More button and create an account with them. Right? They're using this as a great tool to pull people in and capture their information because Compass knows it's about consumer search. If you have people on your app, they get the app on their phone, you can send them notifications, you have their contact information, you can send them emails, you can find ways to pull them back into your portal. The more time they spend on Compass, the less time they spend on Zillow. That's the fight. I talked about Instagram and TikTok, right? The reason that TikTok was a threat is because the average person can only spend so much time on social media in a day. If you're watching TikTok, you're inherently not watching Instagram, right? It's also the same, interestingly, this crosses other industries as well. If you ever look into the annual report that Coca-Cola files, their publicly traded company, they file in their industry study, they talk about something called mouth share, right? In Coca-Cola's analysis is this: of all of the ounces of liquid that the average American puts in their mouth, how many of those ounces are Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola related products, right? They're looking at it the same way. It's about attention. For our industry here, it's about attention. Every day, a certain number of hundreds of thousands of hours are spent by all the consumers looking at houses. How many of them are on Zillow versus on Compass versus on our app, right? And so once you understand this, now you guys can actually enter the battle because, like I said, you guys have two really unique advantages, right? And so I want to jump into that instead of taking some more time for questions because I want you to really focus in on that, right? The first advantage you guys have is this one. You have actual relationships with people. They actually trust you. Zillow has to spend billions of dollars to get people to use their product, right? I didn't include this slide here, but there's a really interesting slide that's available about how much money Homes.com is spending to try to get people off Zillow, right? They're probably currently the biggest competitor. You've probably been contacted by a rep from Homes.com asking you to buy into leads from them or something like that. They're spending this year, between the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, they're spending right at about $200 million a quarter, so about $1 billion a year, to get people to go to Homes.com. You've seen their splicing their Super Bowl ad. They've got celebrities, right? They're running ads online. You're seeing this stuff. They're trying to get the relationships that you have. The people that are in your phone, right? The people that you meet out in public, the people you network with, your past clients, that's what they're competing for. Your advantage is that they already know you and trust you. You have such a huge advantage, and I want you to understand your relationship is enough to get someone off of Zillow and onto a platform that you control. Right? And we're going to talk about how to do that at the end. Right? The second advantage you have is this. Oops. Second advantage is this. You already have the best app that a real estate brokerage has. Right? And I say that I'm telling you, I consult independent brokers, I consult Century 21, Remax, EXP agents. I think I'm up to like 7 different brokerages that I coach and consult with. The KW consumer app is the best one, without question, both web and mobile. So you already have this. You all have it. If you don't know how to access it, ask your tech trainer, ask someone in your market center, but you have a app link available to you in Command, and a website that you can send people to. And when your clients create a login, it's linked to your Command, and you can see all of their activity on the back end, and you can send them messages through your app. Right? This is a huge advantage. If you were starting from scratch as an independent agent trying to build this, you would spend a fortune. If you were going to buy a third-party solution like a Boomtown or a Real Geeks or something similar, it wouldn't be as good, and it would cost you thousands of dollars every month. This is something you're already paying for. Right? We just got to start using it and getting it in people's hands, which is why I said to Dana, I've got to have this conversation. Okay? Here's why KW app is your secret weapon, right? It's branded to you, their agent, the person they already know and trust, not a stranger, right? Remember, Zillow's business model is take their information and sell it to a stranger that they don't know or trust and is probably an agent you're in competition with, right? You also have direct MLS access. It's faster and more accurate than Zillow's feed. We've all had the experience that Zillow, somebody finds something on Zillow and sends it to you and it's already under contract in the MLS, but Zillow hasn't updated, right? So the KW connection is even faster. It's got saved searches, custom alerts, and neighborhood insights, right? It is a one-to-one match for the best in class. If you hold Zillow up next to the KW app on the consumer side, there's nothing that it does that your app doesn't, right? So it's as good as it gets. It has built-in chat with you, right? So when you talk about breaking through the noise, right? Having a dedicated app where you're not one more text message, you're not one more DM on social media, you are a notification from your app to your consumer. That's a huge advantage. And most importantly, there's no third-party ads and there's no competing agents, right? No one's contact information is being sold to a bunch of real estate agents and mortgage brokers, which is how Zillow makes money, plain and simple, right? So you have a lot of advantages here. We just need to market them, right? All right, before we get into marketing and messaging, any questions on KW app, how to access it, what you have there, or any of the other things we've covered so far? Just want to make sure we kind of clear the air before I go into marketing.
I'll be honest, I don't promote my app.
Yeah.
And one person I sent it to 2 weeks ago, I sent it when I was in Austin. So when she pulls up houses, it starts in Austin, and I have no idea how to tell her to correct that. So there's
Okay.
that.
Some technical stuff. That's completely normal. Everyone's having that, right? I like that.
Dan, I was just going to say, to save people time, I know some people are not with one of my offices, but if you are, and even if you're not, I'm sure she would help you, but if you need to understand the app better or you haven't been utilizing it, please schedule an appointment with Jennifer Vickers. That's what we pay her for. She loves to do it. She's great at it. She has the patience of Job, and she will help you. So we don't need to waste Dan's time with the app questions, but like Jen Vickers is there to do just that.
Perfect. Love it. All right. So everyone's good there. All right. How do we market it? Let's talk about that. That's the most important thing. All right. Here's the theory, right? Or here's the marketing messaging. I'm going to give you guys some really specific things you can do, but I want you to understand so you can get creative with this, because ultimately your authentic brand voice and relationship, I want it to sound like you. But the pitch is this. You've got to market your app as being a more personalized alternative to Zillow and focus on trust and control and connection, right? Those are the inverse of what Zillow offers, which is low trust, no control, and no personal relationship, right? So that is the key of the marketing message. As you see what we are going to do, and what I'm going to pitch to you, use this if you want to get more creative and add it more. I'm going to give you some sample marketing pieces to get you started, but know that this has to become a real commitment and a focus that takes time. You're going to have to put consistent messaging out in email and text and on social media over 6, 7, 8 months to get enough people to actually join in. So understanding the marketing messaging is really, really key here. Okay. All right. So here's email marketing ideas, right? A couple simple ones, right? First one I'm calling skip the noise, right? Use my app instead of Zillow or whatever one you don't like or everyone you want to pick on all of them, right? Position your KW app as the alternative, right? Don't use Zillow because ads and privacy concerns, right? And emphasize your personal touch and direct connection, right? Do you want an algorithm sending you a list of homes, or do you want me to curate them? Right now, if you've built a good relationship with a customer or a client, you know what they like. Of course, they want you to curate the list, not some algorithm that never quite gets it right. And so that's part of your messaging there. The other one, again, is speed. Want listings before Zillow shows them, right? Highlight your app's real-time MLS feeds, right? Talk about urgency and beating the crowd, right? Because again, if somebody has your app on the phone, right, you can set up an alert so that as soon as a listing that hits their criteria is there, they get a notification on their phone, right? So that's a great one. Next one is let me be your real estate guide, right? Showcase neighborhood insights that are built into the app. Showcase how you can do saved searches, how you can do chat, right? Make it a human experience, an interactive experience, not an algorithmic experience, right? Those are sort of some of the ideas. Again, hang out with me for a few more minutes. I'm going to give you the secret sauce all at the end here. Okay. Couple text message ideas just to get you started. Also, this works for direct messages, right? So just some sort of simple things, right? Want a smarter home search? My app's faster and has no ads. Want me to send you the link, right? Hey, heads up. Zillow's info is often delayed. My app shows listings directly from the MLS One access, right? You also, this is the one I think people should have the most creative fun with. Use this as a big launch. What a great opportunity to make your business seem bigger and better than we often feel it is, than by saying, hey, I got something really cool happening this Friday. I'm launching an app, right? My commitment, not KW's app, my commitment as your real estate agent, as your local expert, is to delivering the best consumer experience. So I've created a new app, right? And may build up a bunch of excitement around a launch for your business of an app. People are going to think it's very cool, right? So put marketing message around that. Also some social media ideas, right? So this kind of thing is great for carousels, right? Zillow versus my app, or what do the my app versus the others. You can list all these different features, right? And there's some ideas here. Talk about client success stories. And I always, on this one, encourage agents, real or fictionalized, right? Keller Williams has 160,000 agents. Any story that you can possibly make up has happened to somebody, right? So you want to say how my client used my app to find their first home, right? Now, if that's happened to you, amazing. If it hasn't happened to you, we can find someone who it has happened to, and we can share their story, right? So be comfortable, writing something that, maybe hasn't happened to you, but likely happened to somebody else, right? So leaning into that. And then talk about public service announcements. Again, I want you tackling these competitors head on, just like Compass has done, right? Compass came out and they said, hey, Zillow shows what they think your home is worth below the list price, Often it's less. That puts you at a disadvantage as a seller. Why would you want to put yourself in that situation, right? Hey, Zillow puts your days on market prominently under your pictures to incentivize people to lowball you. We don't do that, right? I want you guys to take on Zillow in the same way. Hey, here's the truth about Zillow. They're a data company. They take your contact information and sell it to people. Do you want to use that product? I have a product that on a consumer level goes head to head. You'll have just as good of a home search experience anywhere in the country, plus some international, and no privacy concerns, no ads, no data being sold to somebody else, right? Really focusing in on this kind of stuff is the messaging you've got to put out there, right? All right. So if you're bought into this and you're committed to taking action, and we're going to talk about what might get in your way of doing this and brainstorm as much as you guys want, because we got through this fairly quickly and it's way more fun for me when we make it interactive. I want to give you one thing. Oh, is this, hold on. I might need to make this larger. Hold on. That should work. Let's see. You should be able to scan this QR code. If not, I'm going to put a link here. Hold on.
At the side, I think is cut off just like a smidge because it's not.
Let's see that. No, here's what I'm going to do. That was going to be very high tech and cool, but it did not work. That's okay. Here's what I'm going to do. It's going to be easier to do it this way. I'm going to drop it in the chat. I'm going to give it to Heather so that
Perfect.
you guys have the link, but I want to pull up here so you can see what you got, what I'm giving you. This is a start. I'm going to drop this in the chat right now so I don't forget. This is a link you can go to, and it's going to give you the basics. So here's what I've done. 3 emails. They're already pre-written for you. So you click this little button that says open. Okay. Here's the subject line. You copy and paste it. Here's the body of the email. You copy and paste it. You put this into command. I'll tell you the way to do this. Single step smart plan. You make a single step smart plan with an email. You copy and paste this into it, right? Obviously, make sure you use the merge field for client name. Make sure you insert your app link. Make sure you put your name instead of your name, right? People make those mistakes all the time. That happens, but fix it, right? And you send this out. So this is one. Skip the noise, use my app instead, right? And it sells the benefits of your app and gives it a message. I wanted to give you 3 of these because, again, you're going to do 1 a month, right? Here with that next concept we talked about. Second email already written for you. Want listings before Zillow shows them. Subject line is get home alerts before Zillow even knows. 3rd email, let me be your guide, leaning into that personal relationship, right? Smarter way to search with me by your side. I also have 3 text message scripts in here. So again, all you do is click these and you can copy and paste them and text those out. And then I'm going to give you 2 social media posts just to get you started. First one is a carousel post. Okay. So I got 2 things. First thing here is a Canva link. Bottom part here is the caption with the hashtags, right? So you're going to copy and paste the caption with the hashtags. All you need to do with this carousel link is you're going to click that button there. It's going to open this up into this nice carousel template. Now, I'm going to show you a couple things. You can click these boxes. You can change these colors. Whatever your brand colors are, you can pick those. Let's say I want to use, a nice KW red. I'm going to change all those in one shot. You also have this box here where you have the cloud. That is where you're going to want to put your picture. So you can take, there's some of my agents I work with. Oops. You take somebody's picture, your picture, you drag it in that box. Oh, doesn't like that for some reason. There we go. And you got the picture in there. Same thing here. You can change the color of all these really easily. This takes you just a few minutes to go through and do it. And obviously you want to put your name in here. At the end though, you've got this fully written 6-slide carousel post that you can export and post on Instagram and look like a pro. So that's easy. You've got that already done. The other one I'm going to give you is what I call, and that template, you can reuse it as much as you want. The other one I'm going to give you is what I call a tweet style post. You ever see those? It looks like somebody wrote something really smart on Twitter and then they screenshotted it and then they posted on their Instagram. They're not that smart and they didn't actually post it on Twitter. It's all just a template, right? So here's the template for that same thing. Again, there's a caption with hashtags and a call to action. You know, DM me app if you're ready to search smarter. Same thing here. You can open up this Canva template and you're going to do it exactly the same way. You can change the colors. If you want to put your name here, right? So instead of really great agent, I'm going to put Dan DeMont and I'm going to put my picture in here.
Dan,
Yeah.
I'm cracking up at this because I have a content day with Tyler tomorrow. He's here in Charleston, and he came by last night so we could kind of plan for it. And he said, one of the things I really want you to start posting are like the content photo of you in the background with like the Twitter or the what's the Instagram, Twitter?
Threads.
Threads overlay. And I was like, oh, I'm not on Twitter or Threads. And he was like, yeah, that doesn't matter. There's like a template for that. And then
Exactly.
you just posted it up.
Exactly. So you've got that as well. You that's I threw that in the chat. You've got access to that, but take action with this, right? Put the send the emails out, put some social media content. I will tell you that the best one of the best things to do if you're going to create more ideas, I wanted you to have something to get started. Start there. But if you need more social media ideas, if you need scripts for videos, right? We didn't talk about that, but it's great. This is great content to create reels with. Use ChatGPT. ChatGPT knows what the KW consumer app is. Tell it, I'm a Keller Williams real estate agent. I'm trying to create content to get people to download my app, help me come up with ideas, write scripts for me, things like that. It already knows. It searched the internet, knows all about Keller Williams, knows all about the app, knows all the benefits and all the features. And so you can quickly expand this in terms of writing emails and creating content with using ChatGPT. Oh, awesome. Yeah, Ruth. Well, tell us, Ruth, give us the.
You all 100% should do that. Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea.
Yeah,
I was typing that
last week.
I was typing that at the same time. Ruth just taught like the best AI class I've ever seen last week on for us. I learned so much.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, what's your tip while we've got everyone's attention? What's your tip? If someone wanted to do this, what would you tell them to do?
Yeah, it's essentially that. So you need to have, it's almost like it's conversational to put it in a nutshell. When you meet somebody, you need to kind of exchange who you are, what you want, and like what you need from them, right? So you have to say, I am a blank real estate agent with Keller Williams. I need a prompt for my Keller Williams Commands app to blank. Market my KW app. Please give me 3 different prompts that I can use on Instagram that will, and then you could use like literally what you just said, like a side-by-side comparison, a client success story, and a public service announcement that I can use to promote my KW app on my Instagram.
Yeah.
And then it'll spit it all, and then you just kind of talk back and forth with it until you get it where you want it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right. Is this are we interested in this? Are we going to take some kind of action here?
This is so good. For those that are on, like, you guys just need to go take action. And I'm like, I just wish all 500 of our agents were on. Like, I'm like, how do we get everybody to watch this video?
Well, that's the key. Well, and here's for everyone who showed up, right? That's Dana's challenge. And I was a KW team leader, and I know what that challenge is. And also, it's your advantage. You took
Yeah.
time out of your Wednesday to learn this and to show up and get the emails. And so start taking action. You've got at least a few weeks head start on most of the people before Dana gets them to watch this video. Because it is a competition, right? I started with saying it's a battle and it's a war, and only somewhat as clickbait, because at the end of the day, it really is a battle for consumers' attention. Right? You are in competition with people in your office and people outside of your office for all of your friends, family, and neighbors to get them on your portal for search and get them using that app. You are in the same business as Zillow at the end of the day. And like I said, I'm just really fired up about it because I think this is one of many, but probably the most important place where KW has a huge advantage given to its agents. And so I just want people to take advantage of it.
So good. Totally agree. Dan, thank you so much. This was amazing. I knew that it would be. Yeah, it's just so good. I think this is very timely.
Yes. And it's going to get, I think the advantage is consumers are always sort of on the sideline of industry news, but I think this one has the potential to get a lot of mainstream attention, especially as Zillow and Compass really start to fight this out, and others will. As the luxury market is pushing behind Compass as well. They've all sort of woken up to the opportunity. I haven't confirmed yet, but I've heard that Sotheby's and Corcoran are launching their own version of private exclusives. Obviously, Dana, you've got inside knowledge that KW is working on doing the same.
KW has had one for over a year and they never marketed it or pushed it out.
Yeah.
And it's wild to me because it's really good. I did a demo of it. I'm going to show it to some of our agents either later this week or early beginning next week. I'm just waiting on the time, but it's good. I mean, it's very good.
Yeah. And I think that even if you take the private exclusive out, though, I think that as people hear about it and start to understand, hey, there's alternatives to Zillow, it creates enough turmoil that all of a sudden you have a competitive edge, right? There's an opportunity to get in there. And being the one to, I think the real advantage is that message of Zillow's in the business of selling your contact information. They're data brokers, right? And we're the opposite of that, right? You log into our platform, your data is safe. What you do on that app, only I'm the only person that gets to see it, is really reassuring to people, especially with AI and everything else that's happening. As much as we love those tools, there's also concerns around all of them. And so offering the opposite of that is always attractive for some people. Cool. All right. Well, that's what I've got. I hope I brought some value. I'm going to drop my information in the chat. If you follow me on social media, I'm always giving away free stuff. So if you like the email templates and social media templates and everything else, I would tell you follow me on Instagram because you'll probably get a bunch of free stuff that way. And then I'm also going to give you my cell phone and email. So if anybody would like to reach out, you're welcome to.
Thank you so much, Dan. So good. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So good. Yes, you all go make sure you follow him on Instagram and stuff. He always gives away the best stuff.
I'm trying. All right. Everyone have a good week.
Thank you.
Bye.
You.